Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Hello and welcome to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studio inside Max 6 Conscious Workspace in Tempe, Arizona, where we help build businesses and connect you with the right people. I'm your host and Phoenix Business Radio studio CEO, Kara Nowicki, and we are in for a great conversation. We will be talking with BioLab Sciences CEO and co-founder Bob Maguire and BioLab Sciences Chief Commercialization Officer Jaime Leija, along with Dr. Eric Roberts, the owner of Tampa Bay Foot and Ankle. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
These guys are squirrely. I can tell already. We've only been on pre-show for a couple minutes, but they're a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. And I'd love to start, if we could, with Dr. Roberts. I'd love for you to talk about your practice, Tampa Bay Foot and Ankle. Just give us a little brief overview, and then we'll hear from the guys with BioLab Sciences.
Sure. So I run my own foot and ankle practice in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I provide all types of foot and ankle services as a podiatrist. I have a subspecialty in wound care, which is why I'm here and what I'm very interested in. So while I do everything, including surgery, I have a sub-focus on wound care, and that's something that I'm very interested and passionate about.
Is that unique in your field to have that specialty?
Well, not everybody does it. In fact, there are a lot of subspecialties in podiatry. So some go sports medicine, some go wound care, some go reconstructive surgery. So there's a lot of ways you can go. So in a way, it's unique.
And tell us, for the general layperson, what is podiatry?
Podiatry is a subset of medicine that deals directly with the foot, ankle, and leg. Generally, it's below the knee. Some states will allow you to do soft tissue up to the hip, like Florida does. So you go to a different school, obviously, but it is parallel kind of to medical school, where the last 2 years are really focused more on the lower extremities. So that's pretty much all we do. We go to residency for 3 to 4 years and train with surgical cases for 3 years. And so we're very specialized in the lower extremity.
And how is that different than from orthopedic care?
That's pretty much it, is that from our second year of med school, podiatry school, we are focused on that lower extremity aspect for those 2 years, plus 3 to 4 years more in residency. So we've already had 6 years of lower extremity training, whereas orthopedists are very, very generalized, and then they may specialize into foot and ankle or other areas, which is great. But I think we just get a longer period, and we're a little more broad in that we do more than just surgeries.
You have a pretty vast background, lots of experiences before you're opening your own practice. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that's true. So I came out of residency in 2012 and joined a practice that had 3 doctors. After 5 years, I wanted to kind of broaden my horizons. So I joined a large multi-specialty practice, and that gave me a lot of experience from the family care, pain management, and other aspects. And then after 6 years, it was time for me to start my own practice. I just couldn't wait anymore. I needed to be my own boss.
And you've got a teammate sitting there next to you, I believe, or at least a representative from another organization. And how are things given this COVID-19 quarantine situation in your neck of the world? Tell us a little bit about what's going on today and how has that impacted you and your patients?
It's impacted a lot. It's impacted everyone. The doctors that I'm talking to say that they're down anywhere from 40 to 80% of their patient load. So again, we're seeing 3 patients a day, 5 patients a day, teleconferencing when we can, and that's difficult in my specialty because we're very hands-on. Everything we do is with our hands, so teleconference is very limited in what you can do with that. So it's kind of scary in terms of the economy, but the hospitals are definitely taking precautions. I'm in the hospital every day. And, everybody's wearing a mask, everybody's social distancing, but it's taken a toll on medical practices. I'm just trying to keep everyone out of the emergency room right now.
And you have to be really keen on what's going on for them, which means you likely have to see them to be able to give them proper care.
Right. So I'm seeing a lot of the patients who need that care, wound care, post-operative patients, patients who, if you don't see them, will end up in the ER and admitted to the hospital where you don't want them to be right now. So that's what I'm doing. That's my job in this whole situation.
And tell us a little bit about Florida. Elective surgeries, like at least in Arizona, for a long time, they were holding back on that. And I was fascinated as to what we were defining as elective surgeries. So, are you all back to normal or close to normal? No,
not yet. Not until I want to say May 8th. I think about a week they're going to open to elective surgeries. I still have done surgery in the past couple months, but it's only been on those patients who are considered either urgent or emergent. And so, those wound care patients who would otherwise be in the hospital, I can bring them to the operating room and they can go home, keeping them from having to be there for any extended period of time.
Before we toss it over to the guys, I would love to have you talk a little bit about anatomy. And what I mean by that is, from what I've learned, our feet really tell a lot about us and our health. Our feet, and I understand our teeth too, our oral care. Can you talk a little bit, just again, from kind of a perspective like you would maybe with a new patient who may be faced with some real issues? Can you just give us a little background on feet? How important are they?
Well, the first thing is that you don't realize how much you take your feet for granted until you have a problem with them. So patients come in all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I can't drive, I can't play golf, I can't do anything. I didn't realize how much I used my feet and how much I took them for granted. So they're extremely important, and you definitely have to take care of them. So I would say don't ignore foot pain, even if it's a little bit, because, just a little bit of foot pain can lead to a big problem, especially if you have diabetes or something where maybe you don't feel your feet as well as other people. That's when you have a real problem. So it's a surprise when people they say, I've never been to the podiatrist before. Well, most people probably should go, but decide that, I'll wait it out. And that's when it becomes a problem.
And that's definitely where you and your team come in. We hate to see problems, but at the same time, we're grateful that you're there. How did you get connected with Bob? And tell us a little bit about that organization and how they complement your practice.
Well, actually, it's kind of funny. So the gentleman that's here with me now actually represents BioLab Sciences, and he came in with the product. It was called My Own Skin, and I get reps in here all the time, and they're like, oh, I have a new amniotic product or this product. And I'm like, oh, great. I get to hear about another 1 in a million of those products. How is this one new? But he showed me something really interesting, and it was this graft that was grown from the patient's own skin, like a teeny tiny bit of their skin. And it's grown into this almost up to about 300 square centimeters from 1 square centimeter. So that's like a 300 times increase. And I said, how's that possible? So I'm looking at his stuff he's showing me, and it's, they're really doing that. And it's 100% the patient's own skin. Nothing's added to it. And I thought, well, this is actually something I haven't seen before. I probably shouldn't kick him out of my office until I learn about a little bit more about it. So I really looked into it because that was my space, the wound care space. And we got together and we actually did the first trial in the state of Florida at my hospital. And it was very cool, to say the least.
How long ago was that approximately?
I want to say that was in the first one we did. Was in the October area. That was actually before it became mainstream through Medicare. So we were allowed to do that through the hospital as a trial, and it was a huge trial because this lady needed all 300 square centimeters of it on her legs.
Oh, wow. So talk to us about the opposite of that. If we're not doing it this way, what is the opposite, and what are some of the risks if we don't have the benefit of my own skin?
Well, in any situation, you want to give it a good conservative trial. So you want to do everything you can before you have to go to anything really advanced. You want to try a basic collagen dressing, trying to get collagen in the wound, maybe certain ointments or antibiotic gels. But if you can't heal that wound in 4 weeks, or at least get it half the size, there's studies that show that it's not going to heal without something advanced. And at this point, you can use amniotic tissues, and they are like top of the line, newly advanced, but there's so many of them. And while they're great, you have to apply them once a week. It can be 8 weeks, it can be 12 weeks. That's a lot of cost. I mean, these things are small and they cost a lot. So depending on the patient's wounds, they could be tens, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars just for that one wound over 12 weeks. So right now, that's actually what we're doing a lot of times to help heal those hard to heal wounds.
All right, we've got our folks with us over at BioLab Sciences as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Eric. Stay with us because I'm sure we're going to have more that we want to hear from you as well. Bob and Jaime, either one of you would love to hear how BioLab Sciences got started and a little bit more about what makes the business so unique.
Yeah, so we just passed our 2-year anniversary or birthday on April 20th. Started a couple years ago with biologics, with amniotic fluid, amniotic membrane, orthopedic indications with the amniotic fluid, wound healing, surgical applications with the membrane. We started sourcing product and then manufacturing in our own ISO 5 clean rooms here in Scottsdale. And then we took on a technology, a license to a patent, growing a patient's own skin, which we named My Own Skin. Coincidentally, a lot of people really like the name because it's simple. We wanted something that people could relate to, and it is basically their own skin. So it's been a great product. Our goal as a company is helping people and having BioLab Sciences is a biotechnology platform. So we're always looking for new technologies to help people to find better ways to heal. So that's basically how we started. And we're constantly looking at new technologies and new ways to help people.
I'm fascinated by that. And in 2 years, is that typical to go from, the beginning to already having, these clinical trials and is that unusual? It seems like it's very fast.
It is fast, but we know what we're doing, have done it before. So we're able to navigate rapidly through regulatory. We've gained reimbursement codes for our amniotic fluid product, our amniotic membrane product for My Own Skin. So that means that Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services recognizes the product, will reimburse for it. That means that the insurance payers out there, the Aetnas, the Humanas, the United Healthcares will also cover and reimburse for it. And we're constantly doing things to push for reimbursement to be able to provide to the physicians like Dr. Roberts, where they can provide this as a solution for their patients. One of the great benefits, Karen, of the product is we've shown to date that 80% of the time it's a single application. So the benefit to a patient is not having to go back 8 to 10 times for an application on an amniotic allographic membrane. The benefit to the payer, the insurance company, is if 80% of the time it works on the first application, and if they're paying for 8 to 10 appointments, even if you cut it down in half to 4 or 5, you're saving time for the patient, you're saving money for the insurance company, and the physician is allowed to help other patients versus having one patient come back week after week after week after week.
And amazing. Tell me what is great for you guys about working with someone like Dr. Roberts.
Jaime, you want to chime in there?
Sure. I mean, obviously, his experience, his practical knowledge, the fact that he has worked with other products and can integrate best practices and fully understand how to leverage it. As Bob mentioned, because this product, My Own Skin, is a custom one-off product made for that specific patient, there is a duration of time that the doctor, Dr. Roberts has to wait for it to be made. So it's really reliant on him leveraging existing products, the amnion-derived products, to start the healing process, to jumpstart the healing process while they're waiting for my own skin to return, typically in a week. So working with someone like Dr. Roberts, it provides us tremendous amount of feedback that we can then share with other providers across the country and now the world. And it also, gives us someone with an open mind who's willing to share feedback. So that's been important. Since he was one of the early adopters for this technology, he was able to, serve as a sounding board for us. And he's been gracious enough to take calls, emails, text messages from providers across the country who want to learn from him and want to be able to kind of cut some of the learning curve down by learning from what worked with Dr. Roberts and integrating it into their practice for their patients.
I will tell you that I definitely speak my mind. So there's no blowing smoke when I say something about a product. It's the truth, whether it's good or bad. I definitely will say it. So it's definitely a good thing. I can tell you that.
I'd like to add that when Dr. Roberts was in Phoenix for a conference, Desert Foot Conference back in December, he had made recommendations on our collection kit that is sent out to collect the skin sample, the blood from the patient. And I believe that when we took him to the lab, that he saw that we already implemented most of his recommendations. So we do listen. It does matter. We're open to change. Change is the only constant in the universe, as they say. And we're always about making it better for the physician and the patient.
Love hearing that. That really is the only way that we can win, right? And being able to collaborate in that way and be willing to share speaks volumes about who all of you are. Tell us a little bit about a couple of the other, I'm going to use the word term product for lack of a better term, but rapid antibody testing right now for COVID-19. Maybe that's a little sidestep. Let's focus there right now. How are you involved with this product and this portfolio? What's that looking like in this current situation?
By no plan, no design, we got involved in the rapid result antibody antigen testing for the COVID virus. Long story short, there was an opportunity for us to help. We were approached by a group out of Europe that had experience in developing the first test for the Chinese government. So the first tests that were developed to address the COVID virus, right out of the gates when it was first being reported, fourth quarter of last year. That same group approached us about legitimatizing the test in the United States. Unfortunately, we were inundated in the United States and really throughout the world with unauthorized, counterfeit, knockoff antibody testing. And so it kind of clouded the view and perception of the test and how it could be best leveraged in the United States because we had advanced exposure to really poor quality tests. So we were asked to loan our name, our reputation, our experience, and I think most importantly, both our supply chain and distribution channels to this valid test, to the legitimate test for the United States. So we quickly, really within just a matter of weeks, coordinated our efforts, readjusted our focus to help bringing this test here. I can tell you that we had no idea what the challenge was going to be. We had no idea that not only was the United States looking for a reputable, viable source for this test, but the entire world was. And so as soon as we got a little bit of recognition and press, first through formal press releases and then picked up by news and media outlets, Fox News, NBC News, it, for lack of a better word, it went viral. And so soon, the world, it was recognizing BioLab as a viable source for this test. And it's required that we really, almost on a daily basis, sometimes hourly basis, kind of readjust our priorities to support this effort, because obviously it has a big play in everything we do. Selfishly as individuals and as a community, we need to get our economy going. And this test plays a vital role in that. But secondly, a lot of these same accounts that need the test to open back up and to open their practice, their surgery centers, their podiatry practices, they need a test that can clear their employees and clear their patients to come back in. So as it turns out, in order for us to be able to successfully sell our primary products, which is My Own Skin, our flagship, our fluid products, our membrane products, we need this test to be able to open everyone back up. So, we pushed it to the priority of our portfolio. And as Bob will tell you, I mean, we're working 7 days a week, sometimes 18 hours a day, just trying to get the test out to the United States first and foremost. And, we have a whole long, line of international customers that are waiting patiently for us to have enough inventory for them.
Bob, thoughts to share on that? Anything to add?
No, I think Jaime got most of it. The goal for us is, to my statement earlier, Karen, is that we're always ready to pivot. And so we were pulled into this. We've got an amazing distribution chain and distributors out there. And we knew that we could help get America back to work if we could offer this test. So that's our goal.
I think that's really what's making and breaking businesses right now, right? Whether it's the small mom and pop shops, Main Street businesses, all the way on up through enterprises. When we have the ability to pivot, and even if we haven't figured out how to do it yet, to what you both said, to your credit, you said you knew you had to do this, and that's what absolutely makes a difference. And just showing up in that way, fortunately, is making a difference on behalf of, as Jaime said, not just the U.S., but the world. So thank you all for that. Jaime, you also mentioned the fluid flow and membrane graft products. Can you, either one of you, speak a little bit about those applications as well, and tell our listeners about what that's all about?
Sure. I'll take a shot at it, and Bob can fill in any gaps I forget. But so obviously, My Own Skin is our flagship, but it does require complementary products because, as Dr. Roberts mentioned, there's a need for them at different parts of the care for a patient. So what we did is we developed what we feel are a best of breed when it comes to these two products. So one's a pure liquid allograft. It's made from the amniotic fluid that's recovered using FDA-approved processes, using collection banks across the country that are authorized to do this. We take this pure liquid, this liquid allograft, that is then terminally sterilized, and it's used for a host of different applications in wound care and soft tissue repair. Terminally sterilized to make it safe, easy to use, and it's turned out to be a really strong complement in wound care for a lot of different modalities, from ophthalmic use on the ocular surface to soft tissue repair, initiated by podiatrists, by sports specialists, you name it. This product has turned out to be a very flexible, very important resource to providers of all types. And then we also have a dual layer amnion membrane product. It's made from the placenta, derived from the placenta, the amnion lining. We actually make a product that is essentially 2 layers of it that's used as a resource for a lot of different types of wound care, including podiatry, soft tissue repairs of various sorts. But they complement everything we do. Our goal is to continue to manufacture top end, high quality products so that providers like Dr. Roberts and the thousands that we support across the country and the world have access to a high end product that they can leverage in their practice.
I'd like to add, Karen, that with the benefit, another benefit of the amniotic fluid, which is from a live birth or C-section. So as we say, both baby and mother are celebrating. As we age, so for instance, people that are fortunate enough to live as long as Jaime, as they get older like him, their cytokines, growth factors, all of that dissipate as they age. The benefit of a newborn is, you're dealing with growth factors of a 1-day-old or 0-day-old individual. So it really helps jumpstart your own healing to regenerate, restore, repair your own soft tissue. And that's a lot of the key benefits of it. And similarly with the amniotic membrane, it's from the inner lining of the placenta, the amnion lining, versus the chorion, which is the outside. And again, it has growth factors, cytokines, hyaluronic acid, anti-inflammatory markers that help your body jumpstart to repair itself.
Anything to add to that, Dr. Roberts, or any questions for the gentleman while we have them?
They summed it up pretty good, better than I could. Basically he said it's day 0, day 1. I mean, you don't get any younger than that. So you can derive something that can heal you as well as a newborn baby can. That's what you need to leverage, and that's why there are so many of these products, is because they do work. It's just you do need to use them multiple times, and that's where some other areas like my own skin come into play, and then we're able to do something where we can heal something that's much bigger. And so that's another thing. The amniotic products, believe it or not, they're very small. It takes a lot to make one, and so they're generally a smaller product. And if you have a much larger wound, I mean, think about using 5 or 6 of those and how much those each cost times 12. Where if you can take a little bit of the patient's skin and grow it to however much you need, you can cover a much larger wound once for much, much cheaper. So it's great to have all of the tools available to us.
How is government and insurance and some of the pharmaceutical companies responding overall to regenerative medicine?
I think there is a large growth in that area. Comparing biologics with pharmaceuticals, pharmaceuticals is a chemical reaction. I think a lot of individuals are looking for more natural solutions. So the benefit of the biologics, my own skin, is you're using your own cells or human cells to repair something versus using a chemical reaction to try to help yourself heal. So I think a lot of the physicians are open to it. We're seeing a big change in the last 5 years where they were asking about what is this to how can I use it? How do I incorporate it in my practice? And I think what's also helped is patients asking physicians about the different products, because then they reach out to us saying, hey, I've got patients asking about this. I need to learn more about it, and I need to learn more about it before I present it or provide the procedure for them. So I think it's kind of a stair step or a flow, starting from the consumer end to the physician to requesting the product to applying it to the patient. And I think for the payers, we're continuing to collect data to provide evidence how well these products worked. And I think that's the key for the payers as well. For them to reimburse for it, they want to make sure that they've got all the evidence to show that it is working, and that's what we're proving.
Do you find that you have patients coming into your practice, Dr. Roberts, and being curious and ready to help, want you to get them in that direction? Or do you find that you're usually the one who leads the conversation towards this end?
Actually, I'm usually the one that leads the conversation. The patients generally, when they have a wound, they don't know what options are out there. I mean, maybe they've heard of the amniotic tissue, or when you cringes because they think you're going to take a big chunk of their thigh and put it somewhere else on their body, which when we say grafts in the wound care space, it's not that anymore. It's something you take from a package most of the time. So they're really not knowledgeable of what there is to treat their wounds. They don't even know what a debridement is, which is actually just kind of a scraping of the wound to get it to reinitiate the inflammation, which is the start of the wound. You don't want it to get stale, essentially. So, you have to explain, hey, we have to start with this. If this doesn't work, we go to this. And if this doesn't work, this is what we're going to do. So it really is more of a leading the patient. Occasionally, some people will have some knowledge about these things and ask. And those are the patients who are ready for things like that right away.
I'm sorry, Karen. I wanted to dovetail onto what Dr. Roberts was explaining about harvesting skin from other parts of the body. One of the great benefits of my own skin is not having to harvest from other parts of the body. So if you have an infant or child that you need to harvest skin from, imagine we had one patient out of Nevada where they had syndactyly. That's where you're born with your fingers or toes or joined web-like together, and they needed to separate them. And the parents, the thought was, we have this infant daughter. Are we going to harvest skin off her back to help heal her fingers? And then they tried this process with my own skin. They took a skin sample the size of a pencil eraser, vials of blood, we processed it, and we actually got them back 600 square centimeters, which is the equivalent of 6 4-inch by 4-inch patches or 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter. Did not have to harvest off the girl's back. So now when she becomes a teenager, she doesn't have these scars on her back or other parts of her body. Many times they end up calling the site that they harvest from the donor site or donor harvest site. That can end up getting infected. And some people have claimed that that's even more painful than the wound that they're trying to heal. So they harvest from the donor site, place it in the recipient site, and then now you've got 2 wounds that you're working on. So then if you've got someone that's too young, do they have enough surface area to harvest skin? And then if you get someone that's elderly, is their skin healthy enough to be able to harvest off of them? And if someone is in their 80s, 90s, their skin is thin at that point, the elastin's gone, it's not very elastic, probably not the best candidate to be harvesting skin from other parts of their body. It is done, but this does offer an optimal solution for the patient.
That's an excellent example for us. Again, I need visuals, so it's helpful for me to really see that and to feel for that patient. I had read when I was taking a look at our information before today's segment, exactly as you mentioned, that there's the risk of having it be more painful and maybe not even healing as well if you're taking from other areas, even though it's that still that person's skin. There's added complications, and I can't help but think of, you mentioned the younger child and the elderly. What about the person who maybe isn't overall healthy also, right? Anywhere in between, someone who's already struggling with their health and well-being if you're pulling grafts off other parts of their body. And I'm just shooting from the hip there, but thank you for that example, because that really helps for me to see the great benefit of this.
Well, back to, I think Dr. Roberts had alluded to patients that have diabetes, whether it's type 1 or type 2, that can lead to venous leg ulcers, diabetic foot ulcers. When they can't feel their feet or their extremities, that's called neuropathy. And what happens is the patient is progressively making a wound worse, but they're probably not aware of that until it's really bad, or they notice blood on the floor or in their socks or in their shoes. With the veterans, the VA, the Veterans Administration, 25% of all vets have type 2 diabetes. From there, 12% end up with some type of venous leg ulcer, diabetic foot ulcer. And then from there, you've got an amputation rate, and someone that has amputation ends up with a 2 to 5 year mortality. Usually it may start with a toe to part of a foot to the bottom of the leg. So it can get progressively worse. And it really is systemic with the body and how healthy the body is or isn't. And when someone does have diabetes, it can lead them to being more prone where their body cannot heal itself.
It's absolutely fascinating. And obviously this is radio, so you can't see Dr. Roberts smile, but I love that you've been nodding your head. You're smiling like this is amazing for you, is it not?
It's true. I mean, you don't want to take someone who's already compromised and then make another wound or something else they have to heal. So a lot of times it's not even an option. So it's good that there's something else and other things you can do to avoid that and to also treat the wounds that they have.
Excellent. You all have been a great example of how healthcare companies and physicians can work together and collaborate. What recommendations and suggestions do you have for your peers to that end?
I would hope that I'll start out by saying what the problem is in medicine in general is that we're a reactionary society. We're not a preventative society. So if we're able to use certain things right away, we might get away with a lot of healthcare costs that happen. So a lot of times the insurance companies only allow us to do things after they've gotten so bad that you have to be in the hospital. And you're spending so much money when if we could have just done one thing right at the beginning, we could have prevented it. So if we can get the information out there to everyone who does wound care and things of this nature, that this product is going to save time, money, and literally pain of trying to heal these wounds, it would be better for everyone. But it's unfortunate that we live in a society that's reactionary, where as you can see with what's going on right now, we usually wait a little bit longer than we should when reacting, and it takes a lot longer to heal when we do that. So hopefully everyone can realize the benefit of these new products, and that they can be the new gold standard going forward.
Thank you for that, Bob or Jaime. Yeah, anything to add?
Sure. Yeah, no, what I wanted to add is, what's allowed us to really make an impact in such a short period of time is really keeping our egos at the door. I mean, we really are open to feedback. I mean, most of what we've done has really come from feedback that we get from doctors like Dr. Roberts and others that are willing to share, their experiences. And what has made us unique is that we recognize that we're providing a very disruptive product, because in healthcare, these solutions, can really disrupt a practice if they're not yet ready to implement them and realize the benefits associated with them. So, having said that, we're very respectful of those we work with. We're open to feedback, and we can quickly adjust our products, our portfolio, based upon the feedback that we get from the field. And that's what we've really hung our hat on, is just being extremely responsive, willing to make adjustments when need be, and really just realizing our role in all of this. Bob and I, we're not doctors, but we have a ton of experience in sales, in providing solutions to the healthcare world, and we know our role in doing that. And I think as long as we continue to realize our role and be open to feedback and suggestions, it'll allow us to stay relevant and continue to provide these solutions to providers like Dr. Roberts.
I will tell you that they have been very proactive in making changes to suggestions I've made. And I will tell you, I have spoken to many other companies about how you need to change this or that, whether it's a screw or a plate or for some other orthopedic procedure. And, there's a bureaucracy, there's a hierarchy, and it never makes it anywhere. And it's very tough to get any changes made with any company based on suggestion, but it's been very quick in change, like he said, changing the box and what's inside of it and how it looks and how easy it is to ship. And it's great now. I wouldn't make any changes now. And that was in the matter of, we're talking weeks to maybe a couple months. And that would take years at any other company.
Bob, anything to add as we kind of round out our conversation? I bet you feel a great sense of pride and joy in listening to, obviously, these gentlemen speak to the greatness that you guys have created here for everyone.
Yes. So we, to Jaime's point and Dr. Roberts, we are all about feedback. We're all about making things better. We have PhDs, MDs on staff, obviously many MDs that we work with. So we're all about science. We're about outcomes and making things better. But as business people, we know that things need to move quickly. I think many of us are frustrated with how long things take to happen. We have a small group here, so we can run things through our meetings and make decisions on the spot, and that's how we operate. We don't want it to be this long process and create a quagmire where things get held up. We literally will change things, within 30 minutes of a new process. If we find there's a better way of doing it, if we get recommendations, and we welcome that. And Dr. Roberts' feedback has been incredibly valuable to us. And we've even gotten feedback from other doctors that said, oh, we love this improvement that was made. So that really helps us grow. We don't want to be the company where you got to go to the board of directors and they got to evaluate it, and then they meet next quarter and then they got to evaluate it again. And before you know it, it's a year and nothing's changed. So that, I think we are nimble. We pivot quickly. We have the need for speed, and we get things done. And I think that's what makes us stand out from our competitors.
Absolutely. Speed of implementation, right? And making sure that you're staying in front and listening. That whole education piece is huge. So kudos to all of you. I'm curious about how Jaime and Bob, the two of you, got connected. How was that alliance formed?
It was an online dating site. No, just kidding.
Fantastic.
I had founded a previous biologics company, and Jaime and our other partner, Lorenzo Bronson, they were our top distributors there, extremely knowledgeable. And we had decided that if there was ever a reason or a way for us to start up together, that we would, and we did. So here we are. It's been 2 years. Many people, are surprised that, my God, you've made it 2 years. And for us, it probably feels like it's been 10 years. Speaking for me, I won't speak for Jaime, but it's been amazing. I think what stands out is our people and our culture. We're all about helping people. I love showing people in the lab that make the product the before and after pictures, and they're welling up in tears because these people are parents. They've got parents that have had issues, and just being able to help these people and see the outcomes really makes it all worthwhile for us.
Not ready to break up yet, are you, Jaime?
No, I mean, it's one of the things that we kind of chuckle at is when people say, well, you guys are small. How can someone your size bring something like My Own Skin to market? How can you guys become the face for the rapid result COVID-19 test? How can you guys do all this? You're so small. Well, we're small, but we're experienced. We're small by design because we like to be responsive. We've all worked for large corporations, large sales and marketing groups, in our tenure. And we choose to be the size. We choose this setup. We choose to produce the products that we make, to work with the providers that we work with and support. But, we bring a lot of years of experience. We've learned from our successes and failures, both here at this company and obviously well before this company. And it's just, it's the right time, right place for the three of us to start this company and to really make it different. And that's what we all were looking for. It's just a company that would be a true reflection of our values and the things that we've learned, over our careers.
So just to give you an idea, when they invited me to the lab, I went to the lab and I'm expecting I'm going to see this huge warehouse, and it's going to be like 10,000 square feet of this huge machines and everything. And I went in, and it's about the size of an apartment or a house, and everything is set up so like perfectly so that it can be the way it is. And there's several employees looking over it, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is impressive. That I'm just thinking it's this huge warehouse facility, and they're doing so much with this space that's what he means when he says small. He means a tight-knit group of people, a direct lab. And I think you were talking about opening up another one in Florida if it gets busy enough. Is that right?
Yes, and we actually did just double in size from what you saw when you were here in October. Okay. And we're actually looking, believe it or not, for 20,000 to 30,000 square foot for us to actually develop the IgM rapid body antibody rapid test. So we are in process. So we're moving quickly, but we are very efficient. We're very process oriented, and I think that has helped us scale rapidly and be efficient. So for us, it's about efficiency. It's about managing costs, eliminating bottlenecks, and being able to deliver product out to the physicians that are helping patients.
Excellent. Well, this has been a good time, and I knew we have yet to say how much fun you are, but I think that's very evident in the conversations that we've had here today, and even before getting online together on air. That's got to have something to do with it too, right? Especially during times like this when we're all feeling extra stressed and uncertain, especially when you're dealing with patients with health issues. How important is fun and humor in each of your lives professionally?
Well, I think it's very important because it is a very challenging time that we're in. There's a lot of stress and anxiety with people. I look at the people here as my brothers and sisters. We do laugh a lot. We do have fun, but we work hard. We play hard. There's a lot of communication. We do social distance here. We do take all the necessary precautions with masks and gloves and Purell and all of that. But I think that you do need to release stress at times, and you need to have humor in things to be able to release the tension and let the steam out, because, we're under tremendous pressure. The orders that we have coming in for the rapid antibody tests are about orders coming in every 3 minutes. There's Jaime has his mask on there. And so it's a very exciting time to help people. And again, our goal, the way we see this, is helping America get back to work.
Jaime.
I see Jaime.
Yeah, he's funny, isn't he? He's got his mask on now. Thank you, Jaime. We shouldn't be laughing at it because it really is a serious thing. But Jaime and Dr. Roberts, both of you, where does humor fit in your life and your practice? And it's been a great joy to have each of you here. I love that hanging off your ear, too. That looks even better, Jaime.
So I get asked a lot. People who know me, I'm pretty goofy. I speak my mind, and they say, "Are you like that with your patients?" You're not like that with your patients. I'm like, yes, I am. I will make jokes. I'm completely candid. I will just, I'm honest. They're like, I like that you shoot straight, Doc, that you tell me the truth. That's what people want. And humor is sometimes the best medicine. I truly believe that can help someone through a very difficult time. And so I'm just myself when I'm with my patients. You don't see someone that just changes from, what is it, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's just me, and that's what you get. So I think it's really important. Just have a good time, treat people like you want to be treated, and that's sort of where you get respect from.
No, absolutely. I concur with both of what Bob and Dr. Roberts have said. For us, one of the things Bob didn't mention is that our staff doubled in size because we brought our wives, fiancés, and kids to work to help us through this peak period. But that's important. I mean, we've had to. I mean, our families are an integral part of our business. I mean, we, our personal and business lives do cross over. They interact. I mean, over the last month, we've worked every day, sun up to sundown, to help support this, this effort, the testing effort with our test. And, we've had to integrate our family in. Without your family support, without their understanding, I actually will sit down with my kids almost every day and just let them know, hey, this is what we're doing and this is what we're part of. And for them, they get a kick out of seeing our brand and our logo all over Fox News and showing in the background, and they take pictures of it and send it to their friends and their family and everyone, just so everyone can see, hey, this is us. This is what we're part of. Like it or not, we're in the middle of it all. And it makes it palatable for them, because obviously this is crazy. It's hectic times, unprecedented. We're figuring it out every day. And without your family support, without people that you can work with and trust every day and depend upon every day, it could make it almost unbearable. But because we have all of that, because we have our families involved, they know what we're doing. They get to come to work with us and answer phones if necessary. Do whatever it takes. It's made it work for us. And I don't know if we could do it for 12, 18 months like this, but at least for the time being, it's allowing us to get through these hectic times.
Well, we are just about out of time, gentlemen. And again, I can't thank you enough for sharing your wisdom, your expertise, your camaraderie, and of course, the success that you've had in such a short time, at least with this company, right? It comes with years and years of experience. When we connect with businesses here on Business RadioX, we always like to ask, who can we help put you in front of? Like, what are the introductions? Every business owner, laying in bed at night begins to think, gosh, if only I knew someone in this vertical, this industry, or this particular company. Who are introductions that you're always looking for to continue furthering your mission?
We're always looking for new technologies to help people. We actually have people searching the globe, literally, as we speak, for patents, opportunities, acquisition opportunities, license opportunities. So the goal, better care, better outcomes for patients. That's what we're focused on. So anyone that can help us with that, please help us. We're here to help. We're all ears. You'll see, we're readily available to meet people or talk to them on the phone. We're easy to get a hold of. People tell us that all the time, but I think that's what makes us tick, is that we take the feedback, the input, and we make things happen.
Excellent. Thank you. How about you, Dr. Roberts?
I'm lucky to have a good support system here in St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm always looking for ways that I can help people. I'm currently looking for ways to help the assisted living facilities and the skilled nursing facilities with their patients. So that's sometimes tough. That's a little bit of the bureaucracy I spoke of before. But those are the places that I'm really looking to get into and be able to help them, because those people have wounds too, and they don't necessarily get the advanced care that they need. So I'm just trying to help in those types of spaces. And any way I can help a patient, if I can, I'll do it.
Excellent. Jaime, anything to add to what Bob had shared?
No, I think he hit it right on the head. I mean, what's allowed us to have our success is that we're always looking and we're always open to collaboration. And so, we know that our solutions can either be, a complement to other things that are happening, or they can be, the primary source of wound healing. So however we can best help kind of the healthcare community, it's what we're open to. And what we've proven, and we've done it twice now, we've proven that we can leverage our experience, all these grades that we have, to quickly get products out to market, get it to the right people who need it. And that's kind of what we hang our hat on.
Excellent.
Can I add something, Karen?
Of course.
I'd like to thank all the healthcare workers out there, the Dr. Roberts of the world, the MDs, the physician assistants, the medical assistants that have been out there really doing everything to help the world. It's funny, when there wasn't a pandemic, people worship, rock stars, athletes, all these people that make tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. But I think what we truly see is the healthcare workers are the real superstars in our societies, and the truckers, the people that get us all the supplies. We're in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona. We're an island in the desert here. And unless stuff is trucked in, we're not going to have it. So the healthcare workers, all the people that are helping us get back to work, thank you very much. And you're much appreciated.
Beautifully said. That's a perfect way to end our segment. Thank you so much for that. Let's have each of you share, or one of the guys from BioLab Sciences, how can we find you on the web and the best way to get in touch with y'all?
Our website is www.biolabsciences.net. Our main number is 480-207-1884. Call us, email us, reach out to us, get a hold of us.
Also on LinkedIn as BioLab-Sciences, Facebook, BioLab Sciences, and Twitter, BioLab Sciences as well. And I know Jaime and Bob, I believe you both are on LinkedIn as well. So great to have you. And Dr. Roberts, where do we find you?
You can find me on the internet at tampabayfootandankle.com. I may be in St. Petersburg, but if anybody wants to ask a question or just wants some information, maybe even just about podiatry or wound care, they can always email me too at dr, that's Dr. Eric Roberts at gmail.com. Pretty simple. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Again, thank you guys, and stay safe, stay healthy, and keep serving the world in the great way that you are. You've been listening to Phoenix Business RadioX, broadcasting live from within the Max 6 Conscious Workspace studio. Some media leans left, some lean right, and we lean business. Until next time, I'm Karen Nowicki. Thanks for listening.